Welcome everyone to the CELPIP Speaking Part 7 Expressing Opinions Analysis. Now I'm just here in the Speaking Part 7 of the CELPIP library. And before we get started, I do want to remind you that Speaking Part 7 focuses on CLB 7 plus or higher. What does that mean? Well, that means that if you need to get CLB 7 or higher, then you need to try to do very well in this part. You need to try to make sure that you answer this question your best, not part 3 or 4, right? Part 3 or 4, it's a very simple picture, just describing the picture. And that part, if you answer that part well, it doesn't show that you are level 7 or higher. But if you answer parts 1, 6, and 7 strongly, then it will show that you are a level 7 or higher. Okay? That's what that means. Also, it means that if you need CLB 4, 5, or 6, then this part you don't have to worry so much about answering strongly, because this part is more difficult question topics, and you need to answer with using more difficult language. In your case, lower levels, you should make sure you should answer part 2, 3, 4, and 5. Those parts are more for lower levels, okay? All right. And then I also want to remind you about our Speaking Part 7 Expressing Opinions Tips and Strategies video. Now that video will give you a more in-depth analysis of some tips and strategies that you can use for Speaking Part 7, how to manage your time, how to organize your answer, how to read the question, what to think about. Some of the tips and strategies that I will be using in this analysis, you can find more information about that in the tips and strategies video. And I will be leaving a link in the description box to that video. Okay? So then here we are in our question option for today is foreign aid. Okay. Now, everyone, I want to remind you that this will be a CLB 7 to 9 example, okay? 7 to 9. The first one is the video analysis, which you're watching right now. The second one is vocabulary building. Now, vocabulary building, everyone, especially lower levels, we need to improve our vocabulary, right? So this is a really good exercise. You have some vocabulary words, their meaning, synonyms, antonyms, okay? And then the best part is we have this sentence over here, and you need to read the sentence, and you need to try to complete the sentence with one of the words from the list. The bylaw, regulate officers? Industry officers? Regulatory? Oh, enforcement maybe? And then we write the sentence over here, okay? We write it. And then we see how we did, okay? So that's a really great way to improve our vocabulary. Then we have grammar building. Grammar building, it's great to improve our grammar knowledge. Now, level 4, 5, and 6, we still are learning grammar. So this grammar exercises will really help you improve that. Today's grammar lesson is about gerunds and infinitives. So we have some explanations here, some really good explanations. Also would like to. We read the explanation, and then we have some practice exercises where you read the question by I hope to see you again. and then you write the sentence. Okay, you write it in the box and it will really help you. And then after you check your answers. Okay, you have here a sentence. Amy had a lot, so I offered to help her maybe. So you write your sentences and then you check your answers and you can review. Very good. Okay, part 7, expressing opinions. Preparation time 30 seconds. Speaking time 1 minute and 30 seconds. Okay. Do you think that Canada should provide foreign aid to all countries and organizations that request it through our programs? Why or why not? Okay, very interesting question. Well, Canada has a very um, strong foreign aid program. Okay, many different social programs for foreign aid. Okay, and that's why this question is here. Now, the question is, should Canada provide foreign aid to all countries and organizations? A very good question, I think. Very good. And so, everyone, for this question, I do want to remind you just some things that we were going to be trying to do to get to CLB 7 or 9. And the first one, of course, is answering the question clearly and directly. We need to make sure that this particular question is answered exactly. Should be provided, yes or no? And why or why not? Okay? And for that, actually, I will say right away that the stronger answers when you have a do you think question, for some reasons, yes, and for some reasons, no. That is always a stronger answer. It's more, let's say, academic. This question is the more academic question. So, higher levels, you should try to do that. Try to give ideas for yes and no. Okay, and then of course, we're going to be looking at stronger ideas using vocabulary, higher vocabulary and structure and expression and slang if we can. Then using stronger grammar. What is stronger grammar? Present perfect, conditionals, passive, modalities. Yes, those kinds of stronger grammar structures and definitely avoiding simple grammar errors, okay? And then when we get to the speaking part, of course, I will be talking a lot about flow and intonation, more fluency, clearer, okay? And intonation, more natural expression. Okay. So then, let's get to this question. Also, I will be reminding you that I will be following our guide from the Tips and Strategies guide. This is just a template of how we can answer, okay? Specifically, I'm going to talk about one side and then the other side, as you can see over here. So I'm going to be using some of these sequential forms, and I'll be telling you as I go. Okay. So then, let's get to introducing the question. I want to make sure it's direct and clear, okay? From my point of view, for some reasons, I think Canada should provide foreign aid to those countries and organizations that request it. But for other reasons, I disagree. Okay, so you see here, everyone, it's very clear and direct. And it's using the structure form of two sides, agree, disagree, yes and no. Okay, and also I've said it very clearly here. I didn't really change the words. It's very good, a good idea to do that, just because you want to make sure that you are indicating that you're answering the question directly, not a different question. Okay, so don't worry about that. Just make sure we start off direct and clear. And also, just for my sample answer, I'm going to be illustrating structure in blue and sequence, structure and sequence in blue, main grammar form in red, and other parts of the sentence in black, okay? Just for clarity. So again, I'm building an answer. that is going to look at both sides, and that is always stronger. It's always stronger to do that, okay? Now, can you get a high score only talking about one side? Of course. It's only for um 7 to 9, okay? So yes, you can get, and it's more about speaking, not really. And your idea is not about speaking about both sides. Just if you want to get a higher score, I'm going to say more towards 9, 10, that side, it would be stronger to answer both sides. Okay? You can also turn a level 6 speaking to 7 if you talk about both sides. Because talking about both sides will show your knowledge more. Okay? All right, so now it's better to start off with the reasons why you agree or why yes, and that's what I'm going to do here, okay? So, first and most importantly, I agree because all nations could require foreign aid when they have gone through traumatic situations, such as suffering a natural disaster and experiencing economic or social calamities. Well, very strong right from the beginning, okay? So now you can see that we're getting into um, stronger language for sure. So just want to say a few things first is that I am agreeing because it says here that some nations require it. There are times when nations require it. All nations could require it. And a very good example, using such as, to give an example here, when there are natural disasters and economic or social calamities, negative situations. Okay? Very strong expression also have gone through. Present perfect, could require. So, yes, I think that this idea right away, it's very strong. And of course, it's only one idea. We explained it, we gave the idea, and we connected with the examples here. It's good. So let's try to add something. I would try to add or explain more to this side, which I'm going to do here. Okay. So it says similarly. Okay. Similarly, there are some organizations which do unbelievable altruistic acts to help out people in need. Okay, such as the Red Cross, UNICEF, and Save the Children. So I gave another example of some organizations that do unbelievable altruistic acts. That means humanitarian work. Humanitarian work. Okay, that would be good here. Yeah. And then we gave an example of those: Red Cross, UNICEF, and Save the Children. Very strong, again, another strong idea, strong wording. So we gave another example of who needs that. Remember, organizations who requested, organizations that requested. Very good. And then again, we use such as, very good way of explaining or exemplifying, okay? And then we have here, therefore, so we're concluding, we're explaining. To conclude this paragraph, very good. Therefore, in both these cases, it would be an act of solidarity and humanitarianism to provide aid as we have done so. Very strong. I can tell you that this answer, sometimes, sometimes in part 7 questions, that's where you can really demonstrate your high knowledge. Okay? That's where you can really demonstrate it. And I'm saying that because this example is demonstrating to us that high degree of English knowledge, such as solidarity and humanitarianism. Wow, those words are very strong. Such as unbelievable altruistic acts, such as experiencing economic or social calamities, So I'm finding this answer to be very strong in quality, in language. Okay. Now, at the same time, I want to say that that's not what we need for 7 to 9. You can say easier words. Therefore, in both these cases, it would be great for the Canadian government to provide foreign aid to these organizations. You see, it wasn't that strong. And so I would say again that the quality of this answer is very strong. And I'm just going to put that sentence here so you can see in both these cases, it would be great, great for Canada to provide foreign aid. Just that, you see? In both these cases, it would be great for Canada to provide foreign aid. That's strong with every other sentence. So I just want to clarify that the answer that we have, the example, it's very strong. This sentence here, it's not so strong, but it's still 7 to 9 because it's not about vocabulary. I want to say that. It's not only about vocabulary and ideas, it's going to be a combination about speaking. And obviously, the time you have to prepare is taken into account. And can the level 7 to 9 student, can they think of solidarity and humanitarianism? Most likely not. Okay? Now, the level 9 or higher students, let's say 10, 11, oh yes, solidarity and humanitarianism, those words should be part of the level 10, 11, or 12 student and economic or social calamity or turmoil. Okay? So I just want to make that clear. I want to make that clear, and I'll say something more about that later. Just right now, the quality of this answer is very strong, and I will say that. And so, what makes it better is not the vocabulary. Let's not focus on the vocabulary right now. What makes this answer strong so far is the structure. We've introduced and we've spoken and connected about one side and explained it very well through some good examples. Okay? So now I want to get to the reasons why I disagree, which is going to be stronger. Okay, so we have here. On the other hand, however, I completely disagree because in many cases the government doesn't follow up or get complete reports of how the aid was used. And this could lead to it ending up in the wrong hands and not fulfilling its philanthropic purpose. Okay, well, the idea, very good. Okay, that's very true. The government, it says here, doesn't follow up. We don't get complete reports on how was the aid used, who used it, and how was it used. And because of that, it could lead to the aid ending up in the wrong hands, in the wrong hands. Good expression. And not doing or fulfilling the reason for it, the humanitarian reason. Humanitarian purpose, philanthropic purpose, altruistic, foreign aid purpose. That's what philanthropic means, helping, being humanitarian. Okay? Very strong word again, strong words throughout here. Very good example. So now everyone, let's get to expanding this. Very good idea. Okay. Additionally, it would be wrong for the government to provide foreign aid to fight poverty when, in some cases, in Canada, people could be living in poverty or close to it. Believe it or not, it's true. Particularly, we have a homeless problem here, but for different reasons than in other countries. And the government should, what it's saying here is the government should be spending money on that. So that's a good example where we have people living in poverty in Canada, or um, low income, we say. So consequently, so we're explaining, consequently, Canada should ensure to provide social welfare for its citizenry above any foreign aid. Right. So we should provide for foreign aid, or we should try not, sorry, we should provide social welfare or to our society more than foreign aid. How can we provide foreign aid if we need, well, if we need funding for our social programs? That's what it is saying there, and that's a really good idea. Okay. All right. So then you can see in this side again, we gave a good reason why we disagree. We gave some good examples, and then we gave another example, and then we explained. So very strong, very strong. Okay, continuing here. Now we should just get to the closing statement. It's very important. Now, closing statements are not necessary for everyone, but for higher levels, I find that if you can finish with a closing statement, it will make your answer stronger, as we have here. Overall, I strongly believe that Canada's foreign aid budget should be maintained to assist countries and organizations who truly need it. Mm-hmm. So, yes, it should be maintained. Very good. Modal passive here. Should be maintained to assist. Okay. Countries and organizations who really need it, right? But I think we need more accountability regarding how that aid was distributed and administered. So, more accountability, which is what we said here. Firstly, I said here in the closing statement, basically, I summarized my opinion. We should maintain it for these reasons when countries or organizations really need it. But we need accountability. We need to know how that was used, okay, and how it was administered. Accountability. That's what that means. We need to know how it was used. Okay, then, everyone. Well, like I said, this answer is very strong. Definitely 9, 10, okay, higher in its quality. Very, very strong. Mainly because of some of the ideas are expressed with very strong vocabulary. Even here in the end, accountability. Okay, foreign aid budget, social welfare for its citizenry, philanthropic purpose, end up in the wrong hands. Okay, solidarity and humanitarianism, altruistic acts, lots of strong vocabulary and expression makes this answer very high level. Okay, I'm going to try to, and even for 7 to 9, we don't need such strong level of ideas or expression. Well, expression, but the ideas, we can say these ideas, the same ideas, in a 7 to 9 form. And the student that is 7 to 9, even 9, they will say it, the same ideas in a different, well, lower level way. So I want to clarify that, okay? I want to say the reason why it's 9 plus and first, like we said, it's because it's so well organized, okay? Very well organized. We looked at two sides. We used strong sequential order, okay? And secondly, we gave two sides. That is very important. And we answered clearly why we agree and why we disagree. With that, very strong. And the last part would be that we used strong expression, okay? Strong grammar, present perfect, lots of modals everywhere, modalities, should ensure to, should be maintained, modal passive. So our language, for sure, it's stronger. Now, again, the level 7 to 9, we don't need to express the ideas so strongly, but we do need to express similar ideas in lower level language. It's not a problem. But it would be very useful to speak both sides, okay? And of course, more important is our flow and intonation. Our speaking ability is very important, everyone. We need to speak this answer in 1 minute and a half with good flow and intonation. Flow, continuity, slowly and continuously, okay? Intonation, clearly, and with good stress when we need it. The more natural the intonation, okay? So for that, I'm going to be speaking this answer in 1 minute and a half. Now, please follow along and focus on the flow and intonation, okay, everyone? From my point of view, for some reasons, I think Canada should provide foreign aid to those countries and organizations that request it, but for other reasons, I disagree. First and most importantly, I agree because all nations could require foreign aid when they have gone through traumatic situations, such as suffering a natural disaster and experiencing economic or social calamities. Similarly, there are some organizations which do unbelievable altruistic acts to help out people in need, such as the Red Cross, UNICEF, and Save the Children. Therefore, in both these cases, it would be an act of solidarity and humanitarianism to provide aid as we have done so. On the other hand, however, I completely disagree because in many cases, the government doesn't follow up or get complete reports of how the aid was used, and this could lead it to ending up in the wrong hands and not fulfilling its philanthropic purpose. Additionally, it would be wrong for the government to provide foreign aid to fight poverty, when in some cases in Canada, people could be living in poverty or close to it. Consequently, Canada should ensure to provide social welfare for its citizenry above any foreign aid. Overall, I strongly believe that Canada's foreign aid budget should be maintained to assist countries and organizations who truly need it. But I think we need more accountability regarding how that aid was distributed and administered. Okay, well, everyone, I hope that was clear. I did read it at a good pace with flow and intonation. Now, everyone, very important to be clear, as I was, with good flow, and try to express ideas as clearly as you can. Now, everyone, again, I do think that this answer was long but strong. And again, it's not like we need to provide this kind of answer to get 7, 8, or 9. If you provided this answer the way we did, you could get 12. Okay. Of course, the quality is 12. The speaking quality was 12. Okay. So, what we need to do is practice. That's what we need to do. To get to this level or to get to higher levels, we need to practice. And we can do that first by reading and understanding. We need to read and understand how this answer was formed, okay? How was it formed? The language we use to connect and sequence, very important. And then how was it expressed? We need to understand the ideas and the ideas that were expressed here. And we need to read and understand how we express them, the vocabulary usage, the grammar usage, okay, the connection. That's very important, okay, everyone? And then after that, we need to read and speak this answer in 1 minute and 30 seconds. We need to read and speak it in 1 minute and 30 seconds so we can practice our flow and intonation. The more that you read and speak this answer in 1 minute and a half, the more that you can develop your flow and intonation, okay? And lastly, everyone, you need to speak this answer, or you need to try to speak this answer in 1 minute and 30 seconds without reading. Can you do that? Can you speak the answer without reading it? Well, the higher levels, after reading and speaking it for a few times, they'll be able to speak it. They can. Okay? So that's how you need to practice. And you need to try to speak it in 1 minute and 30 seconds from your knowledge, not from your memory. You need to say, overall, I strongly believe that Canada should provide foreign aid to those organizations that truly need it. But at the same time, we need more accountability. So I didn't say exactly what it says here, but I said something. From your knowledge, okay, everyone? And for that, I will be leaving a link in the description box to the sample answer. Right over here, you see? So you can practice reading and speaking it, and then try to speak it by yourself, okay? Also, let's not forget about the vocabulary and reading exercises, okay? Vocabulary and grammar exercises, sorry. Those vocabulary and grammar exercises will really help you build your vocabulary and grammar for this part. Okay? Also, everyone, don't forget about our CELPIP library. Okay, CELPIP library includes over 60 examples of speaking part 7. Okay, all these topics will be really good for you to develop your knowledge about speaking part 7. Okay, so I strongly recommend artificial intelligence. Wow. I strongly recommend that you subscribe to the CELPIP library. Okay, and for that, with discount code CELPIP79, you can get a 3-month subscription to CELPIP library for $10.99 Canadian. Wow. $10.99 Canadian for over 100 exams almost, because we have version 2s of reading and listening, okay? So that will really, really increase your skills and knowledge, and for English in general, everyone, okay? So I strongly recommend you subscribe to the CELPIP library. And don't forget, everyone, practice makes perfect.